esteemed ministers, respected representatives from across the Asia Pacific region, local airlines, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, and the Airport Authorities of India. A very warm and hearty welcome to the pre-conference event of the second Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference on Civil Aviation. Can we all start with a round of applause? Thank you very much. I'm your host Prerna, and I'm delighted and privileged to play host to such an accomplished audience. I would like to thank each one of you for taking the time out and joining us for this event. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be here with all of you as we gather in New Delhi to address a crucial subject that directly impacts the future of aviation across the Asia Pacific: airspace optimization. To lead today's discussions, we have a panel of distinguished speakers, each bringing with them a wealth of knowledge and expertise on airspace optimization strategies. We will now begin with the symposium on airspace optimization for enhanced capacity and efficiency, hosted by the Airport Authorities of India. To moderate this session, we are honored to have with us Mr. T.F. Musa, Executive Director, Airport Authorities of India. Can we please welcome Mr. Musa on stage? A very warm welcome to you, sir. Please be seated. I urge you to moderate the session and give me a minute as I invite the key speakers on stage. Joining Mr. Musa on the panel are a group of eminent experts. Please welcome Ms. Almira Ramadani, representing the Federal Aviation Administration from the United States of America. Can you please welcome her on stage? A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Mr. Shane Sumner, Regional Officer at the ICAO Regional Office in Bangkok, Thailand. A hearty welcome to you, sir. Kindly keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Blair, Cowles, Regional Director, OSS Safety and Operations, IATA, Singapore. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Mr. David Webb, Air Services Head of Transformation, One Sky and Aerospace, Australia. Mr. Vijay Kumar Mishra, General Manager, ASM Airport Authorities of India. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Mr. David will join us in a few minutes from now, and for now I hand over to the Honorable Moderator for further proceedings. Over to you, Mr. Musa. We also invite Mr. Carlos Menéndez to please join us. Can we please put our hands together for Mr. Carlos? A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I request Chairman Airports Authority of India to have a keynote address on.
Thank you, Mr. Musa. Respected Secretary Civil Aviation, Sri V. Valnam, Honorable Ministers from different countries, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to the pre-conference event of Second Asia Pacific Ministerial Conference 2024. Today I want to address a critical issue in the modern air travel, that is airspace optimization. As post-pandemic air traffic continue to rise with our sky or become increasingly congested, leads to the delay, excess fuel consumption and safety concern. This topic especially relevant to as we consider the civil aviation landscape in India, which is poised for the tremendous growth. The sector is expected to witness a growth more than 10% CAGR in the coming decade. This is evident in the substantial purchase order placed by the large number of aircrafts by the Indian airlines operated in India. Such a rapid expansion demands immediate action. Airspace optimization is no longer the choice, it is a need for hour. In line with ICAO 80th anniversary theme, Safe Sky and Sustainable Future, airspace optimization is not just about the managing the growth, it is about transforming our sky to be a smarter, safer, and more sustainable. By harnessing the advanced technologies and fostering the collaborative, we can collectively explore and share the insight on air traffic management flow, route optimization, vertical optimization, and the time-based separation. Programs like a single European sky and the US Next Gen have already demonstrated the transformative impact on the airspace optimization. According to the latest global outlook by IATA, the Asia Pacific region is set to lead a global growth in aviation, contributing more than half of the net gain in the passenger number by 2043. This remarkable growth presents both an opportunity and the challenge for our region. Now it is time for APAC region to come together and collaborate on the airspace optimization, not just to keep the pace with the expansion, but evaluate our airspace management to the whole new level of efficiency, safety, and sustainability. As we navigate to the new era of aviation, airspace optimization offers not only a solution to today's challenge, but also golden opportunity to shape our future. Together, let us unlock the sky and build a brighter and more sustainable future for the air travel. Thank you, and I look forward to discussion had. Thank you, Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, sir, for an inspiring speech. Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Musa TF, Executive Director, Airspace Management in Airports Authority of India. I welcome all to this technical section on airspace optimization for enhanced capacity and efficiency. As you know, the airspace is a finite asset. The steady air traffic growth has congested the airspace. It has been encouraged us to think about improving the capacity and efficiency while maintaining the safety. Therefore, today's topic has been chosen in this pre-conference event to the APAC Ministerial Conference, which will be held tomorrow and day after tomorrow. The objective of this section is to evolve a strategy through a panel discussion to optimize the airspace for enhanced capacity and efficiency to meet the fast growth of air traffic in the APAC region. In the first session, we have 5 distinguished speakers who are subject matter experts in their respective field. The speakers we have with us are Mr. Shane Sumner from ICAO APAC office, Ms. Almira Ramadani from FAA, Mr. Blair Cowles from IATA, Mr. Carlos Menéndez from EASA, and Mr. Vijay Kumar Mishra from AI. The speakers will be sharing the presentation and will take the question answer after the completion of all the presentations. Let me request all the speakers to keep time limit in mind. We have about 10 to 12 minutes for each presentation so that we are able to complete the presentation in 1 hour and so, and then we will have 10 to 15 minutes question answer session at the end. Let me invite the first speaker, Mr. Shane Sumner from ICAO APAC office. Mr. Shane Sumner was deployed to the Pacific region in October 2023 in the newly established ICAO role of Pacific Small Island Development State Liaison Officer. Prior to this deployment, he was more than 11 years Regional Officer of Air Traffic Management, Aeronautical Information Management in the ICAO Asia Pacific Regional Office in Bangkok. As a Regional Officer, ATM, he was responsible for supporting and advising the states in the implementation of ICAO standards and recommended practices and regional plans in the field of air traffic management, air traffic flow management, aeronautical information services, search and rescue, and airspace safety monitoring, and uncrewed aircraft system. He was the secretary of the technical contributor to a wide range of associated regional technical bodies and drafted, coordinated, reviewed, edited before joining the ICAO in 2012. Before joining ICAO in 2012, Mr. Sumner served in a number of air navigation roles, primarily as a licensed air traffic controller and ATC instructor and supervisor and ATC and surveillance system management specialist. May I request Mr. Sumner to give the presentation?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Musa. And while we're just waiting to get the equipment ready, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chair, distinguished delegates, colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to also specially mention my friends and colleagues from the Pacific Small Island Developing States who've made a considerable effort to be here at this meeting today. So I've got a copious volume of notes here, and hopefully the clicker works. We're getting there. Aha. Okay, thank you. Stand by. A number of topics to talk to you about today, and I'll start with Annex 11, Air Traffic Services. Now, Annex 11 to the Convention on International Civil Aviation is where we find the standards and recommended practices that relate to the underpinning, the fundamental underpinning of airspace design, and therefore, of course, airspace capacity and optimisation. The Annex 11 has in there the objectives of air traffic services. There are a number of things it addresses. It also addresses the determination of the need for air traffic services, the classification of airspaces, which is also a fundamental part of the structure of airspace. It does reference the Air Traffic Services Planning Manual, Doc 9426, but this is due for an overhaul. That document is several decades old. So when we get into other ICAO publications, we also talk about publications such as the Global Air Traffic Management Operational Concept, which is document 9854, which describes the services required to operate the global air traffic system and ties them together into 7 fundamental concept components, one of which there you see is airspace organisation and management. We need to consider, however, that airspace organisation and management is interdependent with all of those other items that you see there on that slide in terms of aerodromes operations, demand and capacity balancing, etc. Under airspace organisation and management, and I observe we have some military participants here today. There are some concepts that are key to this document. All airspace will be a usable resource. Airspace will be organised globally. Coordinated planning of airspace, treating airspace as a continuum, and that airspace organisation and management will provide the first layer of conflict management between aircraft pairs. This document is being updated at the moment. It was last updated in 2005, and those of you who were at the recent Air Navigation Conference may recall having seen some information about this. There's also another document that's in development, and that is the Global Trajectory-Based Operations concept, which is Doc 10130. So now we actually get into planning, global and regional planning. And the first plan we look at is the Global Air Navigation Plan, Doc 9750. This multi-layered global plan includes at level 2, the global technical level, the aviation system block upgrades, which I'm sure that you've all heard about. Now, the aviation system block upgrades are structured into three separate threads. Those are information, operational technology, operational and technology. And so within those threads we have a few examples there. You won't be able to see those, I don't think, all the way back there. This information is readily available on the ICAO website. You can go and find the Global Air Navigation Plan portal there, and you can find this. There are examples in each of those three threads that have a direct impact on airspace capacity and efficiency, and therefore on airspace optimization. Digital aeronautical information in the information thread, together with flight and flow information in a collaborative environment, FFICE. And a little sort of warning here that FFICE is coming. We're looking at the time frame somewhere between 2030 and 2034 when FFICE is intended to replace the current flight plan and ATS messaging system that we've been familiar with for many decades. Operational improvements such as cooperative separation, using airborne aircraft equipment to add to the mix of technologies to allow better separation to be applied. Enhanced en route trajectories through free route and trajectory based operations, and network operations, providing air traffic flow management capability in collaboration between all stakeholders. And of course the technology thread, which includes the surveillance and communications infrastructure and procedures to support each of these developments. Below global air navigation planning, we find regional air navigation plans. The first of those is the Asia Pacific Regional Air Navigation Plan for us. It's structured in three volumes. The first volume has in it the definition of the flight information regions. These are approved by the ICAO Council. We are going through a project to have them correctly defined in the Regional Air Navigation Plan. We've had some success with that over a period of 7 or 8 years. But at the moment we still have a number of outstanding flight information regions that are yet to be incorporated, and those are listed on that slide. I won't read them all out to you. And of course when we're talking about flight information regions, we need to consider that these are not territorial airspace, they are not sovereign airspace, they are an airspace that is assigned on the basis of service delivery capability and requirements. Volume 2 of the Air Navigation Plan includes those items that are agreed by regional air navigation agreement. Fundamentally that means that unanimous agreement of all of the Asia Pacific states. And these provide for things like regional requirement for optimization of traffic flows, continuous improvement of the regional ATS network and the organised track system. Those of you who have had to struggle through the process of getting regional air traffic services routes identified in this volume would be very familiar with it. And it also includes, it touches on the subject of random routing areas and free route airspace to be established through appropriate mechanisms for regional and inter-regional planning and coordination. And the final level, the volume 3 of the Air Navigation Plan, is those elements that are approved by APMC, the Asia Pacific Air Navigation Planning and Implementation Regional Group, which meets every year, has a number of technical groups running under it that comes together to form regional policy and planning on air navigation improvement and implementation in the region. Now, volume 3 will, sometime soon, incorporate in it probably the key air navigation planning document in the region, which is the Asia Pacific Seamless Air Navigation Services Plan, the Seamless ANS Plan. This is being updated in 2024, and at the moment we're actually hoping to both update that plan and migrate it into Volume 3 of the Regional Air Navigation Plan. The heart of that document is its Section 7, the Performance Improvement Plan, that has a large number of performance expectations that have been agreed by APMC for implementation in phases. The seamless ANS plan does that, has the objective that you can see on the screen there, to facilitate seamless ANS operations, recognising that we have quite fractured airspace. We have major traffic flows that transit multiple flight information regions, quite often multiple small flight information regions with short transit times. And so it's very important that we run a continuum of consistent standards and procedures through all of those airspaces to provide seamless air navigation services. Pardon me, I'll refer to my notes. The seamless air navigation service plans performance expectations are arranged in 3 phases. They're not indicated on here. You can find that document on the ICAO Asia Pacific Regional Office website. And those 3 phases are aligned approximately with the aviation system block upgrade blocks. So phases 1 and 2 of the seamless plan from 2013 through to 2019 aligned with the ASBU block 0. Phases 3 and 4 of the seamless ANS plan aligned, from 2019 through 2025 aligned with block 1 of the aviation system block upgrades, and so on. And we will, of course, be hoping to include new elements for phase 4 and then phase 5 of the seamless plan in the update that will be presented to APMC later this year. So some of the selected performance expectations there that relate to airspace optimization are listed. I'll just highlight a few of these that are on the page here. RNAV1 or RNP1, these are navigational specifications for standard instrument departures and standard standard arrival routes. This, of course, would facilitate, you can see further down the list there, things like continuous climb and descent operations, providing for maximum efficiency for departure and arrival of flights without intervention by air traffic control and without level stop-offs, changes in profile for the aircraft, to provide significant efficiencies and reduction of emissions for aircraft operating in the airspace. Designation of airspace and routes, with PBN approved aircraft getting priority. Unmanned aircraft systems integration. This is an important concept for us to keep in mind. We can't ban them from the airspace. If we ban them from the airspace, all we do is encourage non-compliance and unsafe situations. So unmanned aircraft systems integration is also a key part of airspace optimization. There's another one there that I think has to be kept very much in mind, and that is air traffic flow management, particularly collaborative air traffic flow management. The first thing we must do with airspace optimization and in air traffic flow management is increase the capacity of the airspace. But then once we've reached our capacity limit, then we need to make sure that we have collaborative air traffic flow management decision-making in process. There's a couple more that I'd like to just highlight here. I've bolded this one in particular because it's a key issue that we have in the Asia Pacific region, and that is PANS ATM, ICAO Doc 4444, Procedures for Air Navigation Services Air Traffic Management, defines horizontal separation minima that shall be applied using various technologies. I'm going to talk a little more about those separation minima in coming slides. But a key part of the application of appropriate separation minima is the development of air navigation service provider human performance, training, upskilling, developing the staff to be able to provide both the best separation minima and the mix of the best separation minima according to aircraft capability that are operating in their airspace. There's another one there that I should just touch on, once again recognising we have military colleagues here, and that is relating to civil-military cooperation in terms of special use airspace, flexible use of airspace, and the need for programs of continuous review, national coordination and cooperation at both the strategic and the tactical levels of management of the airspace continuum as a whole. And one of the performance expectations there leads on to the ultimate goal in airspace optimization, which is the implementation of free route airspace, the use of RNP routes, advanced flexible use of airspace and airspace management, dynamic sectorisation, enhanced conflict detection and conformance monitoring, and multi-sector planning functions to improve the efficiency and of air traffic management operations. So now I'll just talk for a while about air traffic control separation minimums, because these are a significant issue in terms of the optimisation of our airspace capacity. There's a few images here on the left side there. You're going to see that the green indicates the flight information regions that have implemented longitudinal separation in what our seamless plan calls category R airspace. Remote was the original consideration, but fundamentally oceanic airspace, or those parts of territorial airspace that are outside normal VHF voice and ground-based surveillance coverage. And you can see there that where the green is where the seamless plan elements have been implemented. However, the seamless plan is not as stringent as it could be, so it still does permit the application of 50 miles longitudinal separation, when really we should be pressing more firmly on 30 miles longitudinal separation in this airspace, using the navigational capability that is available in, I would suggest, the greater majority of aircraft that are actually operating in the airspace today. And in that regard, we should also note that the 30-mile separation standard has been in ICAO Annex 11 as an available separation minimum since 2007. In that diagram on the left, you can see the red colour there. It indicates where longitudinal separation minimums greater than 50 miles are applied. And so usually at cruising speed for a jet, 10-minute separation, which is 80 miles, nautical miles of course we're talking about. You can see there's some purple arrows there that indicate roughly the major traffic flows that are impacted by this more restrictive application of separations. So once again, the use of improved separation minimums to improve the airspace capacity and the efficiency. The two images on the right, or the centre image and the one on the right, relate to category S airspace, surveilled airspace, where radar and VHF voice direct communications are available. And you can see there in 2023, at ATM subgroup last year in October of 2023, the centre picture there. And you can see on the right there's been quite an improvement. There's been a significant improvement in terms of the numbers of FIRs that are now applying 5 miles separation by radar or ADS-B where equipped in those airspaces. Now that looks good, but the next picture is not quite so rosy, because those previous slides were relating to the application of those separation minima within flight information regions, but not at the transfer of control points for entry into the flight information region. And as you can see there, there's quite a lot of that brown, which indicates that less than 25% of the transfer of control points have the appropriate separation minimum applied at them. And as you can imagine, with lots of major traffic flows with multiple flights crossing multiple FIRs, the most restrictive separation minimum is the one that ends up being applied. So we're not quite getting there yet. So there's some numbers on the screen there for you. I'll just highlight a couple of those numbers. 2023 and 2024 data. This data is received from reports from states that we have a look at every year, and is reported to the Air Traffic Management subgroup of APMC. And so in terms of compliant, so those transfer of control points at FIR boundaries that are compliant with the seamless plan performance expectations, which were agreed by APMC. You can see there that on the far right of that top one, less than 5% of the transfer of control points within radar and VHF covered airspace actually apply the 5-mile PANS ATM separation minimum. 2024, that's improved. There has been less reporting, so the numbers have skewed a little because of that, but it's still less than 8% in radar-controlled airspace of transfer of control points where 5-mile separation minimum is applied. And once again, I'll stress that the most restrictive separation minimum between aircraft that's crossing multiple FIRs is going to be the one that ends up being applied. So on the subject of separation minimums, a little history I think would be appropriate here. 5-mile separation using radar became applicable in what was the old PANS RAC document, it was Doc 4444, in 1966. There are a few people out there of my vintage who were around at that time, but probably not engaged in a professional air traffic services job. I certainly wasn't. 1966. 1978 saw the application of 5 miles radar separation between aircraft identified by secondary surveillance radar. 1978. And yet here we are in 2023 and 24 still talking about it, about applying it. So what these would indicate, I've just got another one here actually for you to have a look at, and that's relating to the Category R airspace separations, the 50 miles and 30 mile longitudinal separations. The 50 miles, which some are still not applying at transfer of control points particularly, 2001, that was implemented in PANS ATM, and 30 mile longitudinal in 2007. So we're looking at something that's been in place for quite a long time and available for quite a long time. So what these things seem to indicate to us is that there may be a need for greater agility in air navigation service providers and greater commitment to implementing the best possible use of airspace that they can in terms of the separation minima that are applied. And of course, as I mentioned in an earlier slide, in the development of their ATC capability, in the development of their human capability within ATC to be able to apply these separations. So that's it. I hope I haven't gone too far over time. We talked about Annex 11 providing the standards. We talked about the GATMOC, Global Air Traffic Management Operational Concept, the Global Air Navigation Plan, the Asia Pacific Regional Air Navigation Plan, Seamless ANS Plan, and separation minimums. And I'm sure that my colleagues here will give you more information on much more technical detail and on the demand that's coming on us in terms of traffic growth in the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shane Sumner. It was a comprehensive presentation by Mr. Shane Sumner on airspace optimization from ICAO perspective, including standards and planning and performance objective of the Asia Pacific region. The discussion also covered the relevant details of the Asia Pacific Seamless Air Navigation Service Plan and an overview of the implementation status of the application of separation minima in the APEC region. May I request next speaker, Almira Ramadani from FAA. Ms. Almira Ramadani is an FAA Senior International Air Traffic Representative for Asia Pacific. As the focal technical liaison on air traffic matters, she collaborates with the regional air navigation service providers on and Civil Aviation Authorities of ICAO, CANSO, and IATA on Seamless Air Navigation Plan for Asia Pacific, including cross-border strategy and requirements for air traffic management and transition to the trajectory-based operations. In this role, Almira actively advocates for harmonization of aviation technologies, standards and procedures, and support initiatives aiming to enhance aviation system performance in the Asia Pacific region. Almira's expertise is in performance analysis of current and future civil aviation operations, validation of ATM concepts and requirements, and TBOs. This expertise has been strengthened over more than 20 years of hand-on expertise with ATM and next-gen projects in academia, the private sector, and the FAA. Almira joined in the FAA in 2009. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Air Transport Engineering from the University of Belgrade and the Master of Science in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of California at Berkeley. Please, Almira, to you.
Good morning, everyone. Let me start by thanking our gracious host for hosting us all and for their generosity. And it is absolute delight and an honor to be here and share FAA experience with you. My presentation is my discussion, really. Last presentation is about a small example that FAA recently pursued with the end goal of enhancing capacity and efficiency in oceanic airspace. So I'll open up with a map that clearly shows the airspace under FAA control. Some of it is sovereign, some of it is delegated, most of it is on oceanic, about 24 million square miles in oceanic and 5 million square miles in oceanic. And the reason I am starting this high is because I want to illustrate the point that even though we are one state, we have a wide range of capabilities across our national airspace system. We have a wide range of CNS and automation technologies in place, wide range of different processes and procedures in place that are appropriate for the domain, for the region, for the area where they're implemented. So in a way, it's a collage of different things. So even though we are one state, it is challenging. We share some of the same challenges as Asia Pacific region may be sharing, because when we talk about modernization and harmonization of service provision in Asia Pacific, one of the first challenges that comes to mind is diversity in capabilities and budgets. Well, we are one state, but we share your pain and have some experience that we believe anyone can learn with. With that in mind, in oceanic airspace, the capability that we are discussing today is applicable to this tiny little region in North Pacific oceanic area. It's applicable to flows between Alaska Anchorage and Japan, Fukuoka FIR. Over there, we have had Northern Pacific organized track system, NOPAC OTS, since 1974. So Shane was sharing some pretty old dates with us with respect to how long ago we may have started discussing some of the same issues. And as advanced as FAA and US may be with respect to service provision, here is a good example of a capability that dates far, far back. Right. In this example, Northern Pacific organized track system consisted of 5 routes that are 50 nautical miles apart. And typical separations applied in trail along these routes were 10 minutes in trail, right? So in early 2000, we have invested in a new automation for oceanic operations called ATOP, and that included a very sophisticated conflict probe that allowed controllers to keep track of differences in aircraft capabilities. And that was absolutely necessary for controllers to be able to manage application of different separation standards on aircraft with different capabilities, right? So that by around 2005, we were ready to start applying